Hello, everybody. Good morning and good afternoon. This is Jan here at Gated Talent, and today we are joined once again by Elisa Shook for this premium webinar to discuss how to land a job when you're over 50. Elisa Shook is a workplace and career life coach. A corporate career journey includes losing her job 3 times due to corporate restructure, and then transitioning industries 4 times, pivoting role directions 6 times, and achieving 12 career promotions, including being invited to co-found a startup. Her coaching practice and courses now help people with the same tools and principles she used to navigate her career, surviving, thriving, and finding a sense of purpose every step of the way. So hi, Lisa. Thanks for being with us again today.
Hi, Jan. Thank you all so much for having me. I'm very excited to be talking about this very relevant topic today. Um, so,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Just
so
before we get started, just a reminder for the audience, as always, you can use the chat box on the side of your screen to ask us any questions you'd like at any time. And then we have a few minutes at the end of Elisa's presentations to give you some answers. So Elisa, you can start now.
okay, thank you, thank you. So I will say that, let's see here, let's just move forward. Jan covered it a little bit. I've been restructured out 3 times, and I do want to point out that all of those times I was over 40, and one time also included over 50. So just since we're all friends here, I'm 56, so I can very much relate to some of your concerns and even trepidations about what you do at this stage of your life, and I think you'll really like some of the topics that we talk through. As Jan mentioned, 4 industry transitions, multiple roles within those transitions. Despite having career disruption and resets along the way, I was able to elevate throughout with 12 promotions, and and now I am a certified career coach. My last disruption was the moment of truth for me, where I said, okay, I think I just need to pursue career coaching full time. I had been doing it on the side for many years. And, this last time I said, okay, this is the time. Let's just share all of the craziness. And I put this weird picture over here because I say I'm the little weed that keeps popping up and keeps surviving no matter what happens. And you can definitely do the same. I'm going to teach you how. Um, First of all, we're going to talk about a few things. How to leverage your ageless skills. I'll talk about what that means. Also, we're going to talk about value add versus years of service. Think about how when you're in a company for a very long time, once a year or quarterly, they bring everybody up and you get a plaque for how many years of service and everybody celebrates it. Yet if you've been in a company for 20 years, 22, 25 years, and suddenly you find yourself in the job market, those years of service really feel like a burden instead of a reward for a career well lived, if you will. So we're going to talk about how to navigate that. Also, we're going to talk about being the guide and not the hero. And this is a really important aspect of what we do as folks who have been in the workplace for a long time. We know a lot. So we'll talk about how to leverage that in a little bit different way that helps us keep moving forward. Okay, so first we're going to talk about marketing 101, because a job search, you are marketing yourself. So the principles of why people buy things is something that we can consider in a job search. So let's talk a little bit about that. People buy things for a variety of reasons. They're motivated to solve a physical problem, an emotional problem, or a philosophical. And the trifecta here is if you can solve a problem, a singular problem on all 3 of these levels, then what you have to offer is practically irresistible to people. So let's take a look at an example. If you have a terrible yard, your lawn looks awful, it's full of weeds, it's unmowed, um, physically it just needs help. Well, the emotional side of this is every time you drive up to your house, You feel embarrassment, you feel shame, you are, just horrified at the sight of your yard, and you just get that heavy, icky feeling on you. And the philosophical side is it shouldn't be so hard to have a great looking lawn. So if somebody comes up here and to you and says, "Hey, I see your yard needs help," they address the fact that you feel embarrassed about it and they make it easy for you, then their offer is going to be irresistible. So that looks like this: addressing a problem, relieving an emotional pain point, and creating a value add experience. These are three important aspects to think about when you are in the job search process, when you are evaluating job descriptions, when you're in the interview process. What is the problem that needs to be addressed? Can you relieve an emotional pain point? And can you communicate that value add experience? So let's talk about what that looks like in marketing yourself. So I'm going to talk first about leveraging your ageless skills. And more directly, these are focusing on your transferable skills and accomplishments. I say these are ageless because everybody has innate behavioral strengths and skills. And for those of us who've been in the job world, in the workplace for a long time, we've had an amazing opportunity to hone these skills, to develop them even further. So it's a really important aspect of what you focus on as you are navigating your job search. So if you're trying to figure out your transferable skills, think of it from these perspectives. What problems did you solve? What are your strengths? What did you do? And by do, I don't mean the technical aspect of it. I mean more of how you behaved, what you did in your contribution to the company. Your behavior could be you're someone who is very methodical in your approach, or maybe you're someone who has a high sense of urgency and high energy in your approach. These are both strengths. They contribute to the way you got things done on the job. So think of these things in that context, and it's really going to help you, especially if you can attach accomplishments to those skills, if you can align those skills to pieces of the job description, pieces of your resume. Let's take a look at some examples. So I've created a fake little piece of a job description here, a little piece of a resume for an executive assistant at Artisan Architectural Design, my made up company. So some examples of transferable skills are adaptability, organization, communication, problem solving, teamwork, and leadership. There's many others. You could do a Google search, transferable skills, and you could come up with many of them. So let's just look at this job description here. Reports, pretty basic. Reports directly to the CEO, prepare reports, file and organize documents, create presentations, manage office budgets, implement and maintain procedures and office administrative systems, deal with a wide variety of correspondence, complaints, inquiries, cross-functional communication with staff and clients. So this would be a great sort of day-to-day on your resume of what you did as an executive assistant. Each one of these transferable skills are in play. Let's take a look at how. Adaptability. This is organization, communication, problem solving, teamwork, leadership. You'll see that preparing reports, files, and organizing documents and creating presentations is an example of being organized. Those are your organizational skills. Dealing with a wide variety of correspondence, complaints, and inquiries is an example of your ability to adapt and problem solve. So the adaptability and problem solving transferable skills are in play here. You're making those connections between a transferable skill and a piece of the job description. Lastly, adaptability and teamwork are in play when you're participating in cross-functional communication with staff and clients. So you can see how these all kind of work together. So let's talk a little bit about what that looks like on a resume. I want to give you some very practical resume tips here because this is where I see a lot of uh, folks over 50 make a wrong turn, so to speak. And there's nothing wrong or bad about your resume and what you might include, but what you could be doing inadvertently is creating distractions and um, sharing information that is not relevant to the job or the hiring manager. So let's take a look at that. So some very practical tips. And Jan, I sent to him a resume template that he will
Yes,
share with you. That
you will
will,
receive it after the webinar ends in the follow-up emails. Yes.
yeah. So I'm highlighting a few things here. I think once you see the template, it'll kind of make more sense. But here's some important things to remember. Focus on your transferable skills first. And the reason I say that is because your transferable skills are creating a picture of what success looks like. So when I say I have leadership and management skills and I list a nice description of what my leadership skills look like, and I showcase an accomplishment, something that my leadership skills helped me accomplish, that starts to create a narrative that transcends your job experience because the person who's reading it can see, oh, wow, that's interesting. If Elisa did this in her previous role and it's these skills that helped her create that accomplishment, then maybe she can do the same thing for me. It's connecting the dots between these universal transferable skills and how you got things done. Um, the next thing is list relevant hard skills. And I'll be very ridiculous here. We would not say anything about our old computer systems, about floppy disks, or technology that is now obsolete. It's an important piece of your career, absolutely. But if it is not relevant to the job you're seeking, just leave it off. Um, Appreciate it for yourself, but know that it could be a distraction, and it may, at worst case, it may not be appreciated or even understood by the person who is reading your resume or interviewing you. So just leave it off. Um, Also, no more than 15 years experience. This is the current thinking amongst outplacement and recruiting firms that you really don't need to go back more than 15 years. If you have been in the same company for more than 15 years, then there is a certain way that you can organize your resume so that you are showcasing, say, the last 10 or 15, um, and then listing additional professional experience, additional professional experience. If you've been at the same company for some time, then do show your career trajectory in that company. Show the various roles that you've had and break those out as if they are individual positions that you held in different companies. It's a great way to organize your resume so people can see your career trajectory. You can unpack some of the accomplishments and the responsibilities that you had in each of those roles. And if it goes back further, then you can just include it and any other roles in other companies as that additional professional experience at the bottom of your resume without dates. Just list the company and the role you held And to keep it all clean and in one line, you could list, one or two pieces of responsibility that you had at those roles. And leave the dates off your education. I'll give you a little LinkedIn tip here too. LinkedIn does not require dates on the education portion of your profile. So leave those off. Um, Still include the fact that you got a degree or you had some type of continuing education. But if when you put your dates in there, it's just going to be a distraction. So why open that up? Just leave it off. If someone asks, you can certainly answer the question, but most of the time in my experience, they just want to see, oh, okay, yes, you have some additional education. And you could include some of your other courses. As we know, we've got lots of courses available now to upskill. If you are trying to pivot to a new area, like I've done many times, your key aspects are definitely going to be your transferable skills because they travel with you wherever you go. And you may need to upskill, you may need to take some courses, and those are things that you can put in your education section as well, just to show that you are staying relevant with the industry or that you've prepared yourself for that pivot. Next, we'll talk a little bit about value versus years of service. And I mentioned this at the top. This is something that, if you think about it, your years of service are an accumulation of value. It's bringing everything together that you've done, um, creating this uniqueness that really, folks in our position um, have a huge ability to impact an organization, not because of how long we've been in a workplace, but because of the value that we've accumulated. So I'll give you an example. Be the guide, not the hero. I had a client tell me not long ago that he really thought the interview went well. He had all his answers. He was well prepared. And then he said, "But you know what, Elisa, I think I just totally blew up the interviewer, the hiring manager, because I was talking over their head. I was um, being so confident that I think that I just lost that connection." And this is the case where, you know, in that interview, he was being the hero of the story and not allowing the hiring manager to be the hero. You think about this narrative here in Star Wars, even Luke Skywalker, when he first sees the virtual video about, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's trying to think of who this guy could be, and he refers to him as Old Ben, right? So he's like, what could he have to offer this situation? He's just some old hermit somewhere. Well, as he finds out that, Ben is the perfect guide to help him accomplish what he wants to accomplish. And so when you enter a conversation with a hiring manager and you come at it from this slightly different, nuanced position, is that you are the person that's going to make their life better. You're the person that's going to help them navigate um, change, navigate stressful situations, that you don't have to be the hero. You can be the person that helps them become the hero, that shows them a picture of what success looks like. It's a phenomenal position to have. It's exactly how things get sold. You're going to show them what success looks like. And the way you do that is by showing them what your previous success looks like and helping them to see what that looks like in the future. So when you get in an interview situation, you can relate with some context. There's different ways to talk about it. SMART stories, SAR, situation, action, result. We've also seen CARL, context, action, result, learning. If you present what you've done in that type of a context and you are showing them what their future can look like with you in it because of how you're going to make their life better, then it's an incredibly powerful position to be in. You know, the most powerful Jedi was Obi-Wan Kenobi, but he didn't force that upon Luke. He just managed it in a way that helped develop the person that was the hero of the story. So why do people buy things and why will you get hired? It's the same thing. They catch a vision of what their life will be like after the purchase or what life looks like with you in the role. They see the value, they envision the result, and life is better. It's as simple as that. When you look at a job description and you think that everything that's listed on there is a pain point to be solved, and you can start to map out for yourself in preparation and for the recruiter or the hiring manager in the course of the interview, when you start to map out how you can solve each of those pain points with both your transferable or also called soft skills as well as your hard skills, they start to see the picture of success that you bring with you, and that becomes irresistible. So how do you get the job? Well, I'm going to cover some things that really matter most in this process, because this is really about you. It's three parts. It's belief in yourself, it's belief in your unique proposition, so your value, your skills, your experience. Um, no one else has the exact accumulation of skills and experience that you have. And it's belief in your prospective employer. And we'll talk a little bit about that, what actually that means. So by belief in yourself, it's belief in your strengths, it's belief in your skills, accomplishments, and traits. This is your sense of ease and certainty that you belong in the room, that you deserve to be there, that you have something to offer. I don't have a college degree. I attended college. Life happened. I started pursuing a career path that was working for me, and so I never had a reason to go back. But every time I made a transition, guess what? Guess what doubt popped into my head? Oh, what if this is the time? What if this is the time that my degree matters? I, suddenly my lizard brain kicked in, and fear and protection and survival mode kicks in, and you start to lose your belief in yourself. Well, think better thoughts of yourself. Realize that all of these areas are tremendously powerful in your job search. And when you communicate them in a way that showcases what you can do, makes the other person the hero, then your belief in yourself can grow. So just know you absolutely belong there. Um, One of the interview prep things I recommend is very much focused on building your belief. And that is start out preparing by writing what I call a doubt download. Get rid of all of the thoughts in your head of why it can't be done, anything that isn't helping you feel confident and empowered. Get all that stuff out first. Then refill the space in your brain with writing out accomplishments you're most proud of, whether they're related to the job or not. Start with just looking back at your career. Maybe you helped an employee get over the hump, overcome something, achieve their full potential. Maybe there was a project that had a tight timeline, and you led that and led your team to creating an incredible result. These are the things that you can think about before you go into an interview, and then look at the job description and start to connect those dots. Well, the reason you can get this piece of the job description done is because of your stellar communication skills, of your leadership skills, your problem solving, your ability to collaborate. Start to connect those dots, and that will put the focus more on what you bring to the table, separate from how long you've actually been doing it. The next thing is this dovetails right into belief in your unique proposition, and that comes down to impact. The accumulation of your skills and accomplishments created impact in your previous roles. And when you start to appreciate and believe in your ability to have impact, to make a contribution, that will help you realize that that just goes with you everywhere. And you can think about the impact that you're going to have in that new role and feel comfortable with it, feel at ease and certain about it because you've done it before. You can absolutely do it again. And the last one sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but it is believing in your prospective employer. It's believing that they have a willingness to see your value. If you go in thinking, oh, they're not gonna see what I have to offer, they're not gonna understand what I bring to the table, you're creating a barrier between you and that other person. This is about human connection. So when you believe that they are able and willing to see your value, then you start to create a better connection between that person, that helps you communicate more clearly. There's no weird energy in the room, or in our world right now over the video screen. You have to believe that they're capable of seeing this. That raises your critical thinking skills to a higher level so that you can see their body language. You can see, read between the lines in the questions that they're asking, so that they are willing to see your value. If that makes sense. So a sale, someone taught me this a really long time ago. A sale is nothing more than a transfer of belief and enthusiasm. So when you believe, the person on the other side of the desk will believe too. And as job seekers who have been in the workplace for a long time, we all have been in a position where we have seen this happen. We have made a proposal to a client or to executive management, or even a proposal to our team about something that we wanted to accomplish. And when we delivered that message with belief and enthusiasm, they caught sight of it. They caught the fire, so to speak. We've all done this so many times in our lives. Now the trick is just applying that principle to yourself. You are the unique value proposition. You are the unique value add, that's going to be entering the workplace and making a difference. It's no different than if you were selling software. It's no different than if you were rallying your team around something that you wanted to accomplish. Um, you're just applying those same skills to yourself. And you know that when you believed in it, you were able to get those other people to believe. So that is the skill that you're now applying to your job search, that makes searching at over 50 an even more exciting time, because now you just have so much knowledge and so much maturity in how you handle situations and how you leverage all your knowledge and skills, that there's nothing better to just help our workforce than to have folks like you and me involved in making a difference. So I hope that's been helpful. Jan, I think we have some questions. You're going to open it up. Do you want me to address
Absolutely.
the questions ahead of time? How'd you like to do that?
Well, actually, we had a question asking if anything would be different if you are over 60 years old Someone else sent a very similar question during the presentation. What will change to find a role once you are over 60? So I don't know if there would be any differences from what you've just been talking about.
I don't think so, really. I don't think there is any difference because when you're focusing on your value and you're focusing on your transferable skills, they are ageless. Um, and, one other thing I would mention is we have all been in the position of being that 30 something leader and having a diverse group of people working on our team, including people that are more mature than us, that have been doing the job longer. And think about yourself at that age. What did you want out of someone on your team? You just wanted them to do the job. There was always a little bit of weird and potential intimidation when you have someone that's very well experienced. So it really doesn't matter how old you are. Put yourself in that person's shoes. Think about how you can add value and lead and guide. And it doesn't really matter, if you're, just over 50 or if you're over 60. These principles are universally applicable.
Okay, that's great. John was asking, how do you maneuver a career change when you are aged 52, when you want to transition into a sector that's technology driven? Or a
That's a
career
really,
sorry, transition into a career that's technology driven.
okay. Yeah, that's a really good question. The most important thing is that you are presenting the relevant skills. So if you have some technology experience, you definitely want to leverage that. If you don't, but you see that this is a really important sector in the market and you want to transition, you're still going to leverage your transferable skills, but this is an area where you may need to upskill. You may need to take some courses. You may need to reskill in some areas. So it's important to just look at what the job requires and make that investment in yourself to do what you need to do. And technology is one of those things. There are some very specific requirements, whether that's software programming, engineering, those type of things. But it's worth it's worth your investment to do that. What you will want to still do is rely heavily on your transferable skills because now entering that market you have less hard skill experience, less technology experience than maybe somebody else has. So you'll want to just wrap that up in a really nice package of why you can succeed because of your transferable skills. And also I always say, I always encourage clients to apply to roles they feel 60% qualified to do. And I know that sounds a little bit shocking. And for some, it feels very uncomfortable for a variety of reasons. It doesn't feel like you're, you might be compromising. It feels like you might be compromising your integrity if you apply for something that you're not 100% qualified to do. But the reality is that all through our careers, we probably at times were 100% qualified, and other times it was a completely new technology. It was a completely new strategy, something very unfamiliar. And maybe we were only 60% qualified, but we figured it out. So
Mm.
understand that, you know, you're going to you're going to leverage your ability to figure it out. And that is the power of being someone who's over 50, who's been in the job market, who's been in the workplace for a long time. Your ability to navigate a variety of situations and figure things out is a huge strength. And you'll be using that when you start when you combine your new technology certifications with your career value.
Okay, that's great. Well, I think we're just about to run out of time, so that will bring us to the end of this webinar. So thank you so much, Elisa, for being with us today and for this very positive and invigorating presentation, I think. And I hope everyone on the call enjoyed that. So as Elisa mentioned earlier, in the follow-up email that you will receive in about an hour's time, you will not only have the slides from this presentation, but also a resume or CV template that Elisa was talking about earlier to download. So thank you everybody for attending today. Thank you, Elisa, for being with us, and we'll see you again hopefully soon for another premium webinar. Thanks everybody. Goodbye.